In this lecture, we will discuss social psychology as a field of study. Let's begin by making a psychological analysis of the film Thap. Housewife who rebels against her husband after being publicly humiliated by being slapped at a party by her husband for no fault of her own. Amrita was brought up in an affectionate family and trained as a classical dancer, forsakes her career in order to be a model housewife. She is fully supportive of her husband. Vikram. Vikram is immersed in his career, but Amrita's world comes crashing down when Vikram slaps her at a party meant to celebrate his success. Vikram gets angry at the party at one of his company's bosses when he learns that the promised promotion and posting for which he worked so hard has not materialized, and that he will have to serve under somebody else. Not only that, the added humiliation is that the company also doubted his capabilities to bring in investments. He takes out his frustration on his wife, Amrita, by slapping her at the party itself. Amrita is left shocked and dazed. Amrita is left wondering what went wrong. What was her fault? She found that she could not forgive her husband's behavior. Her husband's slap has made a deep mental wound from which she did not recover. Moreover, Vikram never apologized for his behavior to Amrita, but everyone, including her parents, urged Amrita to compromise. The most effective parts of the film, remarks Shekhar Gupta, are the ones in which we are shown just how women are always being told how to feel, how to keep their feelings in check, how not to give in to them. Amrita, however, refuses. She says, जोर के रखनी परी कोई चीज तो मतलब टूटी हुई है ना. Amrita finally decides to take a firm decision to divorce her abusive husband. From this film, Thappat, we see how corporate life makes men totally focused on their careers. They become so emotionally involved that their domestic life takes a hit. Moreover, they think that they can make their wives punching bags for their frustrations. Most women, like Amrita's maid, endure domestic violence, but Amrita refuses. She wanted to become a model housewife, but when her husband does the unthinkable, slaps her in public, she, after a long deliberation and emotional trauma, decides not to compromise. Her bold decision to divorce her husband acts as a moral booster to her lawyer and her maid. They too decide not to compromise with their husband's neglect and domestic violence. So to conclude, what does Thapar teach us? It is this: the relation between husband and wife should be one of mutual respect. Men must learn how to control their emotions. They must not treat their wives as punching bags for their frustrations. They must appreciate their wives' efforts to run their home smoothly. They should also contribute to their wives' emotional well being. Career women must also receive emotional support from their husbands. And women should never compromise on their husband's emotional neglect and or domestic violence. Like the three women in the film, they should fight back and take their hubbies to task. So, Thappar is not just a slap, it is a lesson for all of us. And this is the psychology behind Thappar. Now, let's look at our learning objectives. Our learning objectives are to discuss the nature of social psychology, to discuss the scope of social psychology, to discuss the methods of social psychology, to discuss the role of theory in social psychology, to discuss the ethical issues in social psychology. Social psychology mainly focuses on understanding the causes of social behavior and social thought, on identifying factors that shape our feelings, behavior, and thought in social situations. Why should we study social psychology? We have seen how underlying emotions in the film Thakpad lead to change in social perceptions and to breakdown of marriage. So well, many social problems are solved by elders or teachers, but or teachers or those in position of authority through a commonsensical approach. We have seen that here also in Thappar also we find that Amrita's problems, they their husband, their her parents tried to solve her problems. Her lawyer tried to solve her problem in a commonsensical way. Then, but they could not solve it. Herself had to solve her problem. Then why should we study social psychology? Well, sometimes the commonsensical approaches works. Then why should we study social psychology? We have only one answer, that is a scientific approach to social problems is needed. A grounding in social psychology will help administrators tackle social problems like juvenile delinquency, crime, industrial unrest, youth radicalism, or problems of mental health. Now let us try to understand how commonsensical applications differ from scientific applications. See, there is a practical versus scientific knowledge. Everyone of us has some practical knowledge. The savage, for example, has a good knowledge of poisons with which to hunt, but he cannot say why or how the poison works. A doctor prescribes a medicine for the patient. The doctor has a good knowledge of how the medicine works in the human body. Is social psychology a science? Well, how can a subject which deals with the nature of love, the cause of aggression, be a science like physics, astronomy, geology, botany, zoology, etc.? Well, the answer is social psychology is a science because it uses scientific procedures. Sciences test and retest all assumptions about the natural world. Social psychology is a science because it follows these basic procedures. Well, social psychology has a broad field of study. Social psychology seeks to understand the causes of social behavior and thought, actions and characteristics of others affect the behavior of individuals and so are studied. Basic cognitive problems like memory and reasoning are also studied. Ecological variables are also studied. Cultural contexts in which social behavior and thought occur are also studied. Now let's look at the social behavior. Social psychology seeks to understand the psychological roots of prosocial and antisocial behavior or social conflict. Crimes like murder, theft, etc., can be properly understood only through the application of psychological principles. Actions and characteristics of others affect the behavior of individuals and so are studied. A single action of another individual on another individual may either make the life of an individual fulfilling or devastate the individual. In the film Thappar, a single slap to Anita by her husband changes her outlook on married life forever. She says, जोरी के रखनी पड़ी कोई चीज तो मतलब टूटी हुई है. She meant that something that was holding the marriage together, that is love, trust, respect, broke. Hence, Amrita could no longer trust, love, or respect Vikram, her husband, in the manner she did prior to that slap. Social psychology also studies basic cognitive problems like memory and reasoning. The nerve center of our thought process is the brain. We say that there are various functions of the brain, like executive functions, there's language, there's social cognition or emotion, attention or concentration, there is motor function, learning and memory. Did Amrita in Thappar try to understand why her husband Vikram slapped her? After being slapped, we see that Amrita ruminating about her relationship with her husband, Vikram, and taking a decision to part ways forever. Every individual has a cognitive map in the head, and this map is being constantly updated with information received from various sensors and commonsensical notions applied to make sense of the information. From information in cognitive map, we may make decisions through intuitions or reasoning. We always receive feedback about our decisions from society. Let us see the map. See, this is the cognitive map. Common sense and memory, there are sensors. This cognitive map is constantly updated from the environment. We often engage in intuitional reasoning. This environment, the decision making space, gives us feedback and guide. Ecological variables. Ecological variables play an important role in an individual's physical and mental health. Physical environment, that is air quality, noise, pollution, etc., impinge on an individual's psyche. Economic environment definitely impinges on an individual's mind. Just think about the job losses to millions during the nationwide and statewide lockdowns during the first and second wave of corona pandemic. These individuals not only lost their livelihoods, their mental health was also badly affected by economic losses. Lifestyles like diet, physical activity, or lack of it, smoking, drinking, sex also weigh upon and the individual's mental health. Social factors, that is how we relate to others, also has an impact on mental health. Family, crime, violence, educational problems of children affect an individual's psyche. To summarize, we see that physical environment, social environment, lifestyle, and economic environment all impinge upon the individual's psyche. They have an impact on the individual's health, both physical and mental. All behavior occurs in a cultural context. Social behavior is shaped by culture. A person's behavior is shaped by perspectives and worldviews, social practices and values. Culture has certain elements like rituals, symbols, language, norms, values. For example, a person in a formal organizational setting is expected to behave according to formal rules or norms or etiquette. But such formality is absent in friendship circles. To summarize, we find that the society or community, perspectives, worldviews, culture, and the individual's actions, attributes, attitudes, behavior, they intersect inter at the and the point of values and norms which guide their behavior. Nature versus nurture. Well, there is a debate. A debate has been going on in the social sciences about nature versus nurture. How much do we owe our physical appearance, personality to biological factors like genes, and how much to nurture, like childhood experience, how we are raised, social relationships, and surrounding culture? An emerging area of study has been sociobiology. Look, these are the to summarize, these are the genes and hereditary factors, physical appearance, these are from nature. And these are the environmental variables like childhood experience, how we are raised, social relationships, and the surrounding culture. See, a mother is petting her child. Now, this love, for example, maternal love, has a very important role to play in a child's development. This is nurture. If a child does not get love, her his or her development will be stunted. Recently, I was reading a High Court judgment on a child. The child has, in writing, complained about his mother neglecting him and subjecting him to abuse, and he refused to stay with his mother. And so, the court had no option but to give the child to a social welfare agency. Now let's look at the methods of social psychology. Experiments. In psychology, experiments, two groups are created. There's the control group and the experimental group. Now in the experimental group, a stimulus is given, while in the control group, no stimulus is given. Then tests are given, difference between two groups are compared. See, there are here the experimental group is given a stimulus, and the control group is given no stimulus. Both are given tests. Now, in the experimental group, both the children are being given tests. Well, in the experimental group, we find that there's a loud noise. There are beating drums while the children are giving the tests. Now, the question is, will students' test scores be affected by distracting sounds in the testing environment? The two types of variables are taken, independent and dependent. It is expected that changes in the independent variable will lead to changes in the dependent variable. What is the criteria for success? Random assignment of subject to all to groups. All factors other than independent variables which affect subjects must be held constant. So these are the criteria for success of experiments. But often experimental methods are not possible. Say there may be systematic variation of some factor of interest which may be beyond the experimental control, or ethical issues may prevent a researcher from conducting an otherwise feasible experiment. So faced with these constraints, researchers have adopted the correlational approach in which they change some variables and observe the effects on other variables. This method has some advantages. It can be used to study behavior in real life settings. It can also yield large amount of data in a short time. But there is a limitation also. There is the uncertainty of findings with respect to cause-effect relationship. See, these are three types of correlation. Perfect positive correlation. This is perfect negative correlation, and this is no correlation. There is no pattern. Meta-analysis is a complex statistical procedure that combines the result of different studies to estimate the direction and size of the effects of independent variables that has been estimated in numerous experiments. For example, a meta-analysis of the results of 50 studies of speed of speech and persuasion would combine the findings of all these investigations to determine whether the speed variable has any effect. Further, meta-analysis would indicate the size of such effects. See, this is how meta-analysis is done. There are two types of review. One is narrative. These are the narratives. Cite only support. Examine study characteristics. And these in gray are meta-analysis data. Explain how studies have been chosen. Review using meta-analysis. Then examine the study characteristics in both narrative and meta-analysis. Provide summary indicators. Give direction and magnitude. These are all meta-analysis. It is shown that meta-analysis is superior in several respects to narrative. Now let's look at the role of theory. Theory forms the basis of research in social psychology. Theories seek to answer the question why. They seek to answer why certain events occur. They seek to go beyond observation and description of social behavior. They seek to explain them as well. Theory consists of several basic concepts. Statement of relationships between concepts. Now see, these are the how theories is constructed. So this is a theory about some aspects of social behavior. Now its prediction is derived from this theory. Hypothesis. The research is designed to test these predictions. On one hand, we may see there are two outcomes. One, prediction is confirmed. The confidence in the accuracy of the research of the theory is increased. On the other hand, predictions may not be confirmed. Then the confidence in the theory accuracy is reduced. Then the theory is modified or the theory is rejected. Finally, look at the ethical issues. Does the quest of the social psychologist for information infringe the rights of individuals? What are the ethical issues involved? Social psychologists often use deception in their experiments. For them, deception is a useful tool in their investigations, but the practice of deception may have serious implications for the subjects. Firstly, some persons will resent having been deceived. Secondly, deception may result in some type of harm to the subjects exposed to it. They may experience discomfort, stress, or have negative self esteem. Finally, should scientists place themselves in the position of deceiving persons? Some scientists think that deception should be abandoned. Others think that as it may be used as a temporary measure. So, how to avoid ethical issues in psychological research? To avoid ethical issues associated with deception, we need to take some measures. The most important of these are informed consent and thorough debriefing. The American Psychological Association has advocated both these in their guidelines for ethical standards. Informed consent. In this procedure, the research participant is given full information prior to participating in the study. By following this procedure, the researcher ensures that the subject knows what is likely to happen in the experiment. Debriefing. It involves providing the participants full explanation for all aspects of the study and its goal at the end of the experiment. Here, the participant is also told about the need for deception. So we may now conclude our study. To conclude, social psychology is the science. It studies the individual within society. It studies how attitudes, feelings, etc. are shaped by society and culture. Our learning objectives were to discuss the nature of social psychology, to discuss the scope of social psychology, to discuss the methods of social psychology, to discuss the role of theory in social psychology, to discuss the ethical issues in social psychology. We have seen that an understanding of social psychology is essential to combat and control a wide variety of social problems. Therein lies its significance. And this is the further reading of Robert A. Barron and Neil Branscombe, Social Psychology. Here we conclude our lecture.